Since 1996, fifth graders at South Scotland Elementary School have been making an annual bus trip to Washington, D.C. For the majority of the students who go, the trip is a major highlight of their school career. The big kids have been hearing about it since pre-kindergarten.
When I went to Washington, it like pop. Everything just started getting excited in fifth grade.
And it was a 7-hour trip. And yeah, I couldn't go to sleep because I was so excited.
You should all go there once in your lifetime because you need to see like what we saw, the stuff that we saw.
The class visits D.C. area landmarks like Mount Vernon, the Capitol, the White House. They attend a changing of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknowns, even participating in a wreath ceremony. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial has always been on the itinerary.
Each group is going to get to pick one monument. Vietnam, and you guys said the White House.
Ryan Curley's social studies class spent much of the year researching the places they would visit. Now, after the trip, more research, using the internet and turning the whole exercise into kind of a technology game. Ryan himself is younger than the wall. Vietnam is discussed as part of an overview of wars in American history.
After we talk about Vietnam and after we talk about the military and things of that nature, I actually let the kids discuss what they think. What is the military? What is going over into fighting in another country, maybe for a cause you don't even understand? What is that? And then they talk about it, and that leads us to writing a letter. And I think that's what opens up lets the kids try to connect with the person they're writing to and not just make it about themselves.
The letter I wrote it, and I thanked them for fighting in the war for us because that was a very brave thing to do.
I asked them, I said, I have a person in my family that is in the war in Iraq now, and I know that they don't get to come home very often and see their people. And I know back then that y'all had no choice to go over there, and y'all never knew when y'all was going to get shot.
I wrote, "Dear Vietnam soldier, trooper, thank you for all you did for our country and risking your lives to save the United States."
The letter writing and the trip started under social studies teacher Shirley Royals, now retired. When her classes researched the places to visit on the very first trip, the students saw pictures of mementos left at the wall.
And the children were just curious as to why people did this and to whom they were left. And we would talk about, a lot were family and family members, and some were actually leaving them to relatives that are deceased. And from that, we came up with the idea that they could write their own letter to leave as a keepsake.
Teachers and students alike come back touched by the act of placing the letters at the wall and actually seeing the memorial.
There was a lot of emotions just walking past the wall, like sadness and a lot of stuff.
They're very calm because they know what it represents, and they're just walking and like just running their hands down the wall too as they go, and then looking at some of the names.
A lot of them walk up to the wall and they want to touch it and feel it, and I don't know if that's just their concrete way of saying this is actually a real thing. These are real people that were alive at one time and now they're gone or not here, or they don't know what happened to them.
Well, I thought, well, that's a lot of soldiers, and, well, I felt bad because all them soldiers lost their life or they got lost.
I was amazed because I didn't know that many people had fought and died in the war.
The children choose whether to leave their letters along the wall or put them in a container at the apex.
My grandpa, he fought in the Vietnam War. And when we put it down, I almost was gonna cry because when he had died 2 months ago, and remembering him was actually sad.
The names of 9 men from Laurinburg are engraved.
I have a list of the local people that are deceased and their names are on the wall, and I always try to place one of the letters close to that location.
Dear Tyler, my wife and I.
In 2010, a response. Richard Vastias, a Vietnam veteran and retired schoolteacher from Pennsylvania, picked up Tyler Bird's letter, read it, and wrote back.
You and your classmates have done a wonderful thing to write to us, old-timers.
Tyler's one of the handful of military kids in South Scotland. His father is deployed to Iraq.
I included the Army because my dad's in the Army, and I just thought that'd be interesting if somebody got to read it. And I talked about their freedom because I wanted to thank you about freedom.
Richard Vastias flew Marine helicopters in 1965 and 66, but he didn't spend many words on his Vietnam service. Instead, he asked Tyler about himself.
Do you like music? Do you play a sport? Do you like a sport? Tell me a specific player you like off that team.
The letter was written in cursive, which is no longer taught at South Scotland, so Tyler at first had a hard time reading it. Given the choice of taking it home or first reading it in school, he picked social studies class.
And I read it to them, and another teacher then took it in her reading class, and they read it to Tyler's reading class, and they just had a ball with it. They were so excited, and I think every child really hopes now they get a letter back.
And Tyler hopes he has a pen pal.
Yeah, I was happy when I got it because I didn't think I was going to get wrote back. And yeah, I'm happy I got to get wrote back because now I can just send him a letter, he sent me a letter back.
An underground education center will be built near the Vietnam Veterans Memorial for new fifth graders from Laurenburg and other future visitors. It will display a selection of the Park Service collection. The offerings continue to come at the wall. It has become a bridge between Vietnam vets and those who opposed the conflict. And
it's really gone beyond that, and it's become an educational device for people who have no recollection of Vietnam. Half of the people who visit the memorial are literally younger than the memorial. They are younger than age 25. I mean, forget the Vietnam War. That's even longer.
the South Scotland elementary school letters will wind up at the warehouse in Maryland, where they'll be stored away for researchers and museum curators down the road, along with items like this perfectly good guitar missing one string that showed up with no explanation.
So again, the viewers may contrive their own stories as to why it was left.
The wall still resonates deeply with the Vietnam generation, but it's also found meaning to those who were born long after the conflict ended. It's still the most visited memorial in Washington, D.C., and it will serve as an enduring testament to those who died in Southeast Asia and to the ultimate sacrifice anyone serving in the military may have to make. I'm Staff Sergeant Brian Buckwalter. Thanks for watching Recon.